Welcome to Taskforce Geek. My name is Dirk Hooper, and today I am joined by Scott.
Howdy.
And Shawn.
I do.
And our guest, Maryann Childress.
Hi there.
All right. All the stories and questions we're talking about tonight were shared on the Taskforce Geek Quora space. Join us on there to get a preview of what we could be talking about. That Taskforce Geek Quora space now has over 500,000 people on it. And there it is right there. We're broadcasting live from my Facebook account, which is this right here, and our YouTube channel. I'm not even going to talk about it. Heck with it. What I am going to talk about is our new Taskforce Geek Facebook group, which I created today. So the purpose of the Facebook group, if you're interested, and I hope you are, is not just for us to broadcast about this episode or any of our episodes or whatever that we're doing, but hopefully for you to use it as a promotional spot for what you're doing. So we really want to encourage people who are doing independent comics or who are artists or just creative people in general. If you have something that you want to promote, put it in that room. And if you have questions or whatever, let's talk about it. We really want everyone to participate. It's the Taskforce Geek Facebook group. It's brand new. There it is, folks. First story tonight is the wild Star Wars rumor that claims Disney will erase the sequel trilogy and reset canon. A YouTuber known as Doomcock is at it again. He brought news of doomed test screenings for the Rise of Skywalker. Now he claims that Disney is ready to trash their sequel trilogy and erase it from the current canon. This will be good news to many, though there are the three movies in question directed by J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson do have their fans. Doomcock is speculating that The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker will all be scrubbed, and that this reboot was hinted at in the final film when Rey confronts Dark Rey in the debris of the second Death Star. There doesn't seem to be any truth to these ideas, though it hasn't stopped Star Wars fans disappointed with Disney's handling of the franchise from salivating over the possibilities. Doomcock's video on the subject has garnered quite a bit of views and attention since it originally launched last week, and I have seen tons and tons of stuff on Quora and on different articles and stuff everywhere about this silly subject. So I'm going to first open it up to everyone here and just say, whoever wants to take this, is there any chance at all of this happening, or what's your thoughts about it? Who wants it first?
It's not going to happen, just months after the last movie was released. That's for sure.
Come on, Scott, let's wrap it up, man.
Oh, come on. I'm almost mad that you mentioned this, because this just made Doomcock really happy that somebody else is talking about him. This is ridiculous. People need to let things be. And even if they were going to scrap it, they're not going to scrap it now. They're still selling toys and dolls and Blu-rays and everything else. So just everybody relax. Disney doesn't have to make a movie to make everybody happy. I mean, it's canon. Move on, people.
Wait a minute. Is that Walt there with Ric Flair?
Yeah, he has Ric Flair right over here.
What the heck? What? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! There's a whole story there I got to hear. And Ronnie is talking. Maryann, you got something to say about this? Let's have it.
I just find it so funny that they went. I don't remember when the first one came out. I'm going to guesstimate and say it was like 2014 when the first new trilogy came out.
That sounds about right.
I find it so funny that they're like, oh, we went about 3 or 4 movies in. Let's just get rid of it and just act like it never happened. That's just a weird thing. But I could also see it because there was a lot of people who disliked it. That was for sure. Even my dad, who likes Star Wars a lot, hates it. So that means anything.
I mean, I think the main problem with them getting rid of it, I mean, who knows how long Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill's going to be around, and we've already lost Carrie Fisher. So I don't see that happening now. It might be entertaining to see a better direction for the movies, because I think a lot of us wanted the Timothy Zahn books to come to life, and or something similar, but we're not going to get it. Move on, nerds. We'll be okay. We'll be okay. There's something else
Screw
to
the
gripe about
nerds.
right around the corner.
Shawn, what do you think, man?
As far as them completely nixing the last trilogy, no. I mean, much like it's already been said, for the fact that we've already lost Carrie Fisher, we're not gonna force Harrison Ford back. God, he would hate that. God, he would hate that so much.
Oh my God, you are so right. That would drive him nuts.
As far as toy sales and whatnot, that's part of the reason, is because they're not selling toys. They're not selling the Blu-rays. They're not making the money off of this franchise that they should be making. But with that being said, if they decide to reboot this last trilogy, I think that they would probably lay the foundation in the comics and try to pick up from there. I know that there's been some suggestion of a like an alternate timeline or an alternate dimension that they might bounce through, which I believe they have already kind of laid the groundwork for that in the comics. So, I mean, everything's there if they want to go for it, but I just don't see it.
Yeah, I mean, I picked this subject because I think it's kind of funny, and but I'm going to say outright that this is not going to happen, folks. Disney has rides based on these movies. There's the rides is where they make the money, rides and toys, folks. And Scott just talked about the toys and stuff. Disney's all in on this trilogy. They're not going to pretend like it doesn't exist. That is stupid. Stop it. Stop talking about this. It's ridiculous. But I will say this. Here's what I will say. The anger from the community is going to lead to Kathleen Kennedy, who is running the show, for her to get booted out the door. People do not like what she has done, and that's going to lead to the era of Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni or both. And long live Jon Favreau, as far as I'm concerned on that. And additionally, I think that because we've kind of burned the soil on these movies, I mean, I don't know where you go, narratively, where the heck do you go with these characters after this? I mean, it's just a crazy way that they have left these characters in the entire world of Star Wars. So I think that if you're talking about what Star Wars does next, that clearly what they're not going to say that the sequel trilogy doesn't exist. They're just going to go to another time and another place. They're going to go to another part of the galaxy. They're going to tell some stories about some different people. And most likely we're going to go back to the Old Republic, which is 10,000 years ago. So none of this really matters. And in another 10 years, people will look fondly on these movies, just like they do the prequel series that everyone bitched about for 10 damn years. And now they're like, oh, they're pretty good. I kind of like elements of it. I really like Darth Maul, and Obi-Wan Kenobi is cool. And the third film wasn't so bad after all. And by God, George Lucas really gave us some new stories. And so, we ought to pay respects to, people are going to find things that they like about these movies, and it's not going to matter in 10 years anyway. So I have spoken.
I mean, the big argument about the toy sales, I mean, hasn't Kenner and Star Wars sold the same toys to the same generation of people for 40 years? I mean, it's my age group.
Including me.
Because I promise you, I'm going to take a wild guess here. And since Maryann's definitely younger than us, I bet you she didn't buy a whole bunch of crappy Kenner Star Wars figures, because once she bought one, it goes like, oh, they move like Frankenstein, when there's way better articulation and cool action figures out there. So, they're not selling toys because they suck.
I was into dinosaur toys when I was younger, so I wasn't into the Star Wars.
I'm just saying the quality.
Lonnie wants a Jar Jar movie.
Of course he wants a Jar Jar movie.
Jar Jar Binks is a Sith?
Exactly.
There was a rumor about that Jar Jar was going to be the person that brings it all together in the third film. Obviously, that didn't happen.
The toys that are selling are the reissues of the original figures. They are the more articulated
Is it? Okay.
reissues of the original characters. Nothing from the new trilogy. Nobody. In fact, I believe it was Target and Walmart literally pulled every single Rose Tico action figure from the shelves because no one wanted them. Poe Dameron.
I mean, nothing against Rose Tico, but what the hell did she do in that movie? In either movie?
I don't know. And
what did she do?
I don't know why anybody has so much hate for that character. Granted, she's not my favorite character, but
I would rather buy a figure of her sister who died in the first of the Last Jedi.
That's me. I thought she was far more interesting in the 3 minutes of.
She's a bomber pilot. Let's have a series about her.
Absolutely. But anyway, and that's one of the biggest problems is they're not selling anything from the new trilogy. Nobody wants anything from the new trilogy. That's sad because they've got some really interesting characters.
It's a generation thing.
It is.
I truly believe that, like, imagine you're 12 years old or younger, 8, and you can play with a Star Wars action figure whose legs move in one joint and their arms move in one joint. And
yeah, but they don't do that anymore.
And maybe his head moves. Kids today have everything electronic, and it's not like I'm the old man complaining. I'm saying if I had these same tools of discovery they did, I probably wouldn't have sat around and played with my Walrus Man and Greedo. I mean, I just wouldn't have, because there's better things to do. I mean, just like the people in the Old West had an old corncob doll that never moved. I mean, so they have better stuff. It's just true. It's okay. And they've been selling the same Luke figure to some Star Wars collector who never takes it out of the package for 40 years. It's
right.
I mean, relax,
probably
people.
sells it for a good price too.
Okay, folks, I'm going to pull out here before we get out of this subject. And I'm going to welcome a special guest that's going to pop in for just a moment and talk to us.
All right.
So for everyone out there, welcome to our guest from last week, which is Russell Oldham. How you doing, Russ?
Hey, I'm doing great.
How's it going, brother?
Russ, are you launching that Kickstarter?
I am tonight.
Tonight, like how long from now? When can I give you some money?
I'm going to launch it at 9 o'clock tonight.
9 o'clock Central.
Yes, 9 o'clock Central.
All right.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about what the project is again, and I'm going to try to find your link here if I can find it.
Okay. Age of the Remnants is a sci-fi / medieval fantasy comic book.
How about that? There it is.
That's it. Okay. And I've been trying to find a short way to describe this, and this is what I've come up with. So this is the island of Dr. Moreau on a global scale.
Nice.
Nice.
And the reader gets to play the part of Edward Prendick and gets to explore basically the island, learn about all the new creatures, and discover all the secrets to why they're even in existence. And I'm just going to kind of leave the summary as that.
There you go.
That's a good summary, man. Let's point out that you're going to start a Kickstarter tonight. The link for the Kickstarter is right there. So get that down. Look, for the price of a couple of lattes, you can support an independent artist and get a new comic book in your hand that is completely created by this guy that we have on the screen right now, which is pretty damn cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it launches tonight.
Tonight at 9 o'clock Central.
So
And if you're on the fence about this, Russell joined us last week, so you could go back on YouTube and look at episode 12 and find out. We kind of grill them and talk about it and show some preview art and everything else, so you can find out more if you're not convinced enough to support his Kickstarter.
Hey, I want to point out something. this is, and because it's so unusual, his project is done. It's finished. He
Yep.
just needs the money to print the thing. And you can go, if you go to the link, which I took off because there's so many people on the screen right now. But if you go to the deal, you can see the artwork is cool. It's got a great concept, guys. I mean, with all of the junk out there, seriously, go spend a little bit of just a pocket change and support an independent creator, please. Do it tonight. You're about an hour and a half away. And I believe it was Walt that said, what's your initial goal, Russ?
$1,500 is the initial goal.
I mean,
15.
look,
That's
let's-
pennies.
Let's hit 1,500 tonight, folks. And Walt Thompson said that our stretch goal is $400,000.
All right, that sounds good.
That's a nice goal.
It's a real goal. Let's see if anyone says something about. Oh, Walt's got your. Look at this. Walt's helping you out here.
There we go. Yeah, just go to their page. I'll have plenty of stuff on there where you can find the links to the Kickstarter.
And Walt is backing up his prediction of $400,000
All right.
for your deal.
I like Walt a lot.
We do too, man. We do too. Is there anything else that you'd like to mention before we wrap up here?
No, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Maryann, it's very good to meet you. I thoroughly enjoyed inking that piece of art that I did for you a few days ago.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
We saw that.
I always love inking other people's stuff. It's a nice.
You really captured a bat in there, so you did
Oh,
pretty
well.
well.
I'm glad. I'm glad I did that.
I hope it wasn't too much trouble.
No, it's always interesting inking other people's stuff. It's always educational for me, learning how to, bring somebody else's work to life. I'm most of the time just always penciling and inking my own stuff. So,
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck, Russell.
all right, thank you guys. Have a great
Thanks a
show.
lot. We appreciate it. See you later.
Bye-bye. Oh, that's
All
good.
right, folks. We are going to be supporting some independent people here, and that's what we're doing right now. That's where the action is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to figure out where all of my stuff is here.
What's the point of
I'm off
notes? Right?
Well, it's not the notes is not the issue. The notes is finding the next thing that we're going to talk about, which is Alien versus Predator versus Iron Man. The Alien Predator franchises have been a mainstay in the comic book industry for decades, and now they've both found a new home. IGN can exclusively reveal that Marvel Comics has acquired the rights to both Alien and Predator, paving the way for a new line of comics set in the cinematic sci-fi universe. For the first person on this, just to get their impression, I'm going to go to Maryann.
Okay, so I was so confused by this because I was on a chat app known as Discord, and someone in the group mentioned about it. And the first thing I thought when I read it was I just imagined Spider-Man fighting the Predator for some reason,
Right.
but I never really got a chance to look at any of the Alien versus Predator comics beforehand. I knew a lot of people liked them, but I was like,
Shawn just had a heart attack.
but yeah, it's funny to me because I just can see so many crossovers of like Wolverine versus the Alien or
That's one of my
Prometheus
questions.
crossovers or something like that, all those spin-offs and all that. So that's my take, I guess.
All right, next up is Shawn. We're going to go to Shawn on that reaction.
Sorry. Oh no.
No, I find that particular type of answer happening to me more and more the older I get. I'm getting kind of used to it. I've heard a lot of people complain about Marvel being the masthead for Aliens and the Predator franchises, and I don't understand it. Everybody's going on. Oh, now the Alien's gonna fight the X-Men, and the Predator's gonna hunt down. They've already done that. Dark Horse did a joint with DC where they had Batman twice fight the Predator. He's faced off against the aliens. Superman has faced off against the aliens. Dredd has faced off against the aliens.
Because of course.
Archie.
Why not?
Archie went up against the Predator. He lost, but he went up against the Predator. I mean, it doesn't matter. I don't know why everybody's getting all bent out of shape. I think under Marvel, they're going to do some amazing things. When they announced that Marvel was taking control of those properties, they released 2 images, I believe it was, by David Finch that had an alien within I'm suspecting within the halls of the Milano. You see a little cassette player. You see Stormbringer in the background. You see Rocket's blaster and pack. On the Predator reveal, he's holding the helmet, which I believe is a drone of one of the Iron Man drones. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with it and how far they'll take it. Will it be the same adult oriented stuff that we saw from Dark Horse? Maybe not. But have they really disappointed up to this point? I don't think so. I think they've done a great job with all their properties. So, bring it. I can't wait.
I want to say hi to Jeremy because I recognize him from Quora. So thank you for joining us. That's very cool. Also, Mr. Zach 115 says, question, hasn't Marvel been doing really bad lately when it comes to comics? And specifically mentions the new Warriors.
Oh, God.
Anyone want to take that?
See,
or do we want to stay away from that about 800 million light years?
I don't know about
that's a whole separate thing.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever you're talking about that kind of stuff, that's they open the doors to some more progressive creatives, and they're giving them an opportunity to try something new, try something that perhaps we haven't seen out there before, and do it in the Marvel way. So far, before they've even been published, everybody hates it. So most likely it's not going to go anywhere with those particular characters and storylines. Will that happen to the Alien Predator franchise? Good luck with that. I don't see the Predator ever becoming a social justice warrior. I don't ever see the alien horde becoming, some sort of activist type of publication. So, don't worry about it. I think everything's going to be fine.
Let's see. Shawn and I were just talking about this. We were trying to figure out. You're talking about the Shi'ar. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that they could do a crossover with, particularly with the X-Men and all the stuff that's going on, and it wouldn't be so bad, I don't think. I mean, I think that Aliens and Predator kind of fits pretty good. Let's have Predator versus Daredevil.
Okay.
Absolutely. Honestly, I think that would be really cool. There's a lot of characters. Get Colossus in there. Give him a one shot. Hell, put the Thing against an alien queen. Let's see it. I mean, who knows what all they could come up with.
I think it fits pretty well. And to be honest, go ahead. I think that right now, if you're talking about, I mean, the comics have actually been pretty good on Aliens and Predator. Dark Horse has done a great job with that, I think. But if you're talking about the movies, adding it to the Marvel Universe or exploring some ideas there is maybe not such a bad idea. And it could lead to, what do you think about maybe having Aliens or Predator in the MCU?
That I'm out on. I don't think that would work quite as well. I mean, obviously, if you want to do kind of a what if episode, sure, go for it. But as far as putting it actually in the MCU, yeah, I just don't see that.
I think like the Marvel Zombies and the or the DC Deceased and stuff. I think that there's a very good chance that you're going to see like an alien crossover where you get some of these superheroes infected, and then you get aliens burst out of them with the powers and stuff of these characters, and it sounds pretty cool.
Well,
I kind of like the idea.
So when I first heard this, I was not real happy just because I don't want all the crossovers. And to be honest, I enjoyed the Predator couple movies. I enjoyed the couple of the Alien movies, but I don't live and breathe aliens and Predator stuff like some sci-fi fans do. And that's okay. That doesn't mean I'm right or you're. Yeah, there you go. I see it, Shawn. I see it. But the good, I thought about this, and what scares me is like when they got the rights back to Conan, they had a Conan series, and then a Savage
Avengers
Conan series, and then they had multiple mini series,
Savage Avengers,
and then you have the Savage Avengers, which is Conan going to the Marvel Universe, which he did in an old What If comic, but. While I still don't like Conan, fighting side by side with Wolverine and the Punisher and stuff, or Elektra, they did do it in a way that it works for comics, and the one good thing you will get from this is Marvel and DC can pay the top creators, right? They have You work somewhere else, and then you hope to get that big contract, and you go make your money at Marvel or DC, and then you hope to either slide companies, work for both companies, or once you have your money, you go back to Image and do your self-publishing thing of whatever it is you want to do, like you've seen with Matt Fraction and a lot of other people. So you are most likely going to get top-notch people on these Aliens or these Predator projects because we did with Star Wars. When the Star Wars stuff went over, we got John Cassidy doing the art. I mean, we had big time writers on these things. So, in the Star Wars franchise in comic form has been really, really good. And trust me, I wanted to be the guy that said they suck, but they don't suck. They've been really, really good books. And so there's really no reason that the Aliens or the Predator stuff couldn't be really good stories too. And they're definitely going to have crossovers because as much as we gripe about these kind of weird crossovers, they always make money and they always get publicity. And, people are curious, even for the Predator versus Archie comic. So, I mean, we're going to see these. We're going to see them with probably top creators at first, for sure. And then we'll see where it goes. I promise you're going to see an Aliens and or a Predator versus Conan in some form. I mean, that's almost begging to be, you tell a story from his world or the aliens land, or there's a Predator or something like that. And by Crom, he's going to slay that bastard and move on. So
I could see him going up against Predator. I can see them doing a crossover between Alien versus Predator versus the Star Wars universe. I can see, them playing with this till the cows come home. They're going to try anything and everything to make that green. And, by golly, what does it matter? It's just going to be stupid fun. None of it is going to disrupt anything else that they've got. It's always going to be a side thing. So if you're just so focused on a particular storyline, don't worry. It's not going to affect it. It'll always be a separate timeline or a separate universe or whatever you want to call it. Everything's going to be fine. Everything will be fine.
Dude, I see Pete chimed in here. Mr. Nifton is a fantastic veteran comic artist, the visual creator of the Blood Bowl universe, and I think it's really cool seeing him on there. I've had Pete actually stay in my house and visit with me, and Pete has some wonderful.
Tell everyone where he's from.
He is from England. He's over there in England and watching us. That's really cool. So Pete's a great friend, and I admired him since I was a little boy, looking at his artwork through Blood Bowl magazines, and it's almost surrealistic that we're more friends than me looking at him like an idol. So that's
pretty cool. We should
Pete.
We should have him on the show.
When he gets his computer fixed, when he's ready, Pete, you're going to get on this show.
Yeah, professional artist. Professional artist. That's we definitely like that. So
Pete's done a lot of stuff for Games Workshop, a magazine called Flintlock, some Transformers UK, and designed all sorts of stuff. So he's even a better person. So
how about this? We are totally international.
Yeah, there you go.
What time is it in England? It's got to be late.
It's pretty late. I don't know if
6 hours ahead. It's like about 1-2 o'clock in the morning.
I promise you, Pete can outdrink all four of us. That's for sure.
I don't doubt that.
I think one of my buddies who wanted to watch said it was like almost 2 o'clock. I think one or about 2 o'clock.
There you go. Ronnie says that the thing getting chest bursted is pretty cool.
No, it's not. That's dumb. Ronnie.
Someone's checking back in with us. We appreciate that. And Jennifer says Pete Nifton has come on the show, which is very cool.
Jennifer loves Pete. That's her buddy.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Our next subject is our guest, Maryann Childress. So let me, while we're here, let me give you a little background on her. Maryann is from the Tulsa area, Sapulpa, actually, and 20 years old. She got interested in doing comics about 2 years ago and has been with a group known as Equinox Comics for about a year. She's hoping to get better at her craft and publish her graphic novel and comic series known as Obelisk and First Sin. Welcome to the show.
Hi there.
I have a few questions, and then guys, if you want to follow up, and then I have something for the whole group here. So first up to you, Maryann, is how long have you been drawing?
Oh God, that's a tremendous question. I think as far back as I can remember, about 4, at least. Pretty much as much as I could hold a pencil.
Cool.
Now, they weren't great when I was 4. I wasn't like Picasso or something.
Yeah, right. None
so many of us are.
Yeah, right. What made you interested in doing comics?
Oh God, it's such a long story. So I went to a Comic-Con back in 2018, and man, his name escapes me. So I went up to this older gentleman. He was at a table, and Lord forbid, I didn't know who he was, and I was just watching him draw it. I think he was drawing something for Warlord, something like that, something around there. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And, I talked to him about how I was kind of struggling to figure out, God, what do I want to do with art? Because, in my mind, I had... I saw that. I had something about wanting to do video game concept art stuff for a long time because I love video games. I adore them. Whoa, Mike. And then he was like, it never hurts to try doing comics. And I was like, oh, I heard that's really hard to get into. And he discussed with me how back like 50 or 60 years ago, he just walked up to DC and was like, hey, can I draw for you guys? And they're like, yeah, draw something. Get back to you.
Must be nice.
Oh, man. It must be nice. Later to find out, I guess he drew the Green Arrow for quite a while. I guess he gave the Green Arrow the hood, the iconic hood. But other than that, I was like, it kind of just clicked with me. I was like, man, it wouldn't hurt to try comics, just do it. Why not? I got nothing to lose at this point. So that's just how I got interested in it. It was just that wise old man that was like, go do comics. So I wish I knew. I could remember his name. I feel so bad.
Wow. Does anyone have an idea who she's talking about? Any guesses?
I don't know if that helps.
Anyone in the audience?
Mike? If I could remember. It started with
Grell?
Mike
Is it
Grell?
Grell?
Mike Grell.
Oh, Warlord. I was thinking the gaming Warlord.
So,
Mike Grell. I got you.
Honestly, I give credit to him for, sending me.
Hey,
on
it's
the
pretty
path
cool
I
that you got to talk to Mike Grell.
I didn't know who he was.
He's a legend. Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't know who he was. I think he was probably humbled that he met someone who didn't know who he was. So I was like,
Hey, that's cool.
yeah, and later come find out. So
Pretty awesome.
yes.
All right, my next question to you is, how would you describe your style?
Oh man, that's a good question. A lot of people always told me it was leaning towards the creep factor or just really stylized. I even had people tell me it's very anime looking. I guess kind of more of the Western take on animes, but
Right?
I can't really tell you what my style really is besides like creepy. So a lot of my art style as of recent. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Keep going.
A lot of my art style as of recent, I guess you could say I got really inspired by a game called Bloodborne. That's where I got got a lot of my inspiration from. You could probably look at Bloodborne and look at some of how I designed things and be like, oh, so that's where she got it. That's where she got that style.
Just throwing it out there, I would describe your style as kind of a combination of steampunk and horror.
Yes, I hear that a lot too.
Does that sound?
Horror is a first.
Yeah.
So you're the first person to tell me that. I hear steampunk a lot, very much.
Yeah. That's my own impression, but it all that matters is what you think.
Oh yeah, I like it. I never been different about it.
Let's see. Tell us about Obelisk.
It depends on how long you want it.
You got 5 minutes. Go.
Well, it's going to take more than 5 minutes. So I'm going to start you off here. Imagine you've been wandering in a desert for 600 years with absolutely no one and like knowing who you are or what you are. Imagine that, right? And then one day someone comes up to you and was like, "Oh, hey, I have a deal for you. If you go kill the 7 deadly sins, I'll let you go. You'll get all your memories back and you can walk right on out of here." So Obelisk is kind of based off of Dante's Inferno. It follows primarily 2 characters. One who gets named literally in the first few pages, known as Vulcan. And the other is a wandering soul, a soul with no business. He kind of just walks around in limbo. His name's Chester. He's a crazy, cursed Irish guy. He's based off an old legend. I can't pronounce it for the life of me because I'm not very versed in how it's pronounced. But it kind of just follows their adventures of how they go to how hell is kind of set up in a way. It's centered around this obelisk. That's where the name comes from. And around this obelisk, there's these little districts, and they're like the 9 rings or 7 rings of hell, however you want to put it. And they have to go to each district and go kill the 7 deadly sins that are personified as these people. So they look like people, but in reality, they're really not. I don't know if I mind showing it, but this is a prime example of what they all mostly look like, are these creepy little demons. So if that helps any. And really deep down, it's a story about this character trying to figure out primarily who he is, if he was even human in the first place, and his struggle to understand what it was like to be kind of human, even though he really doesn't know. And he's just struggling all against this. And, that's pretty much how I can summarize it without going like for hours. You can ask me questions. I still got plenty of time. So.
Hey, I think that sounds really interesting. I like it. And I like your character design a lot on these things too. You've been sharing these things.
A lot of people love Abaddon because it's just the way he looks, I guess. Even though if you actually look up the actual demon, it's terrifying. But that's pretty much... Everyone likes Abaddon. I'm like, I hope I didn't start a demonic cult, but it's okay with me, I guess.
Hey guys, you want to have
it at some point?
Right, exactly.
Is that what we started? When's the plan? I mean, like, this is still a work in progress, right? I mean, you haven't started actual page.
No, I'm currently stuck in, I wouldn't say kind of a limbo, ironically a limbo.
Right.
I'm at this point doing it mostly by myself. At this point, I haven't really gotten to pages yet. I tried dabbling in the story, but I just kind of want to get my chops on writing a bit better. But maybe getting some help one day would definitely help me out, because I can't do everything by myself forever, and that's just the reality of it all. I'm just hoping one day I get to see it be a thing and people love it. So,
well,
people
hold on,
like the characters.
hold on to those dreams, and with hard work, make them a reality. Because probably me, Shawn, and Dirk, at least on a one or two projects, whether life has taken us left or right in the wrong direction, we probably could have, steered the horse back in the right direction and followed through on a few things. So just keep it up.
That kind of goes to my next deal, which I'm going to throw to you guys. And the question to you guys is on the subject that with Maryann in mind. If you could go back in time and talk to yourself when you were 20 years old, what would be your advice about drawing and comics and about art in general? Who wants to take that?
I think I get distracted easy, and when I can focus on art, and I was having this conversation with Jennifer today. I like a lot of things, and just recently we had some friends come into town, and for 2 days straight, from 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight, we played board games. And I love board games. I'm passionate about board games. But what I've noticed is playing board games for 2 days in a row gave me that itch to play other new board games and discover new different styles of how would you design a game and the mechanics of a board game, just all these creative things. But I haven't been doing art these last few days, and I miss that too. So I know personally I can get sidetracked really easy. I think I'm a better person to deal with, and I think I'm a better friend in person when I do get time to create and express myself, whether it's little small side jobs or just drawing for fun, than I am when I don't do it, because I get to express that part of me. I guess it's just living through your creations and getting to express yourself. I mean, I've done artwork for a board game. That was really fun and stuff too. But I just feel like I'm more myself as a person when I draw more and can get that creativity out. I mean, I went when we were playing the board games, I told Jennifer, I was like, I haven't drew anything today. I haven't drawn. I feel like I've wasted time because I haven't drawn. And here I am 1 and 2 days later after playing all these marathons of board games with friends. I'm like, man, I need to get this board game off the shelf and play it. And, I need to do this. But I'm sidetracking myself. I think it's very hard to stay focused. I think if maybe I would have really, really focused more when I was younger, I would be somewhere else than I am today. I don't regret my life, and I don't have regrets. We walk a path and we tell a story. But I know that if I would have stuck to drawing every day, I could have only be better, even for my own personal worth, So I would just say stay focused and don't let some of those dreams die. If you have stories to tell them. And there's one project that we had as Ranking Studios that I remember us spending countless hours dreaming and coming up with these stories, and it's never came to fruition. And maybe one day we can retell that story. And you and Shawn know what I'm talking about, our fantasy stories. So
yeah.
It was named Fantasy, but we don't have to go into details on that. But I mean, I thought, especially for 25 years ago, it was a very unique story at the time, and I think we dropped the ball personally on that. So, but no regrets. You got to live life. You got to smile, and if you learn something from it, that's all that really matters. So,
Shawn, what do you say? You get to go back in time and talk to your 20-year-old self. And you can't talk about girlfriends.
See, I totally avoided that.
You're just going to talk about art, man.
So much pain I could save myself.
I know. I hear you, man. So much pain.
About comics, what would I tell myself? One of the first things I would probably say is don't waste an opportunity.
Yep.
I
That's a
have
good one.
spoken to a lot of professionals at conventions. I've sat and discussed working with professionals on various things, and I let all those opportunities go because I was too focused on getting to work, paying rent, making sure the bills were paid. Not that those are bad things to focus on, but you also gotta keep the art flow. You can't ever let go of that if that is your passion, if that's what you want to do. What would I tell myself? Practice every day, even if it's just for an hour.
Yeah,
Even if
I agree.
even if
I do
you
too.
if you can get a just a small pocket sketchbook, doodle in it. I was lucky that I had a job that allowed me to do that. Even to this day, if I'm downloading a file for work while I'm waiting, I'm over there doodling, just to keep it fresh, just to keep the illustrations going. The you mentioned something about working on the story more. I can tell you that I've had a particular story that I wanted to tell since, well, I won't go into the year. Let's just say that I was about your age, and every day I've thought about that story. Literally every single day I've thought about that story, and as I've grown as a person, I've noticed that with maturity, I'm able to focus that story more to an actual story as opposed to just a bunch of random thoughts that I would have to force together. In other words, with more maturity, you can tell a better story. So don't force the story out. Let the story develop in your mind, in your illustrations, and just let it live. Let it be itself. Let the creation grow and mature on its own. If you don't come up with a complete story today, don't worry about it. It might come tomorrow, might come next month, might come next summer. Focus on getting what you can, and all the while you're thinking about the story, allow it to mature, allow it to blossom, allow it to grow. I was too busy younger. I was too busy trying to force a lot of these ideas because I thought that if I didn't make it as a professional in the comic industry by the age of 22, I'm a failure. And I'm not in the comic industry, and I'm way past 22, but I am not a failure. I've never stopped seeking that goal, and it may not get published until I'm being burned into ash and put in an urn, but my story will be told at some point, and you just gotta keep a hold of that. Gosh, I don't know what more I would tell myself other than just keep plugging away and listen to professionals. If you are lucky enough to get a portfolio reviewed by a professional, do not allow their remarks, their criticisms destroy your faith in your project or in your art. That's what they're there for. They're there to rip you apart, grow thick skin. Whenever I was a graphic design instructor, I would tell my students, whatever you do not listen to your family. I don't care. I don't
That's
care.
so true.
I don't care.
For so many reasons.
I don't care how critical you think they are. They're your family.
Yep.
They want you to succeed, and no matter how critical they are, they're gonna pad it, and they're not going to give you the criticism that is going to allow you to grow. My mother is probably my biggest fan, and she would never tell me anything that would hurt me or dissuade me from my goals. But at the same time, she would give me her opinion. It wouldn't be harsh. I go to a convention. In fact, the professional that really turned me around is an illustrator by the name of Tim Vigil. He destroyed me. I've never been verbally browbeat that hard in my entire life. Not by any of my bosses, not by any client that I've had over the years. Nobody has verbally abused me to that degree. And with that, I grew so much as an illustrator. He turned me completely 180 degrees. I was headed in a bad direction. He turned me to the right direction with his criticism. I still hold him exceptionally high as far as respect and what have you.
Shawn, I think the big deal, what the emphasis needs to be there is you listened. I tell this to my children all the time. If people criticize you, 1, take a step back. Mm-hmm. 2, let it soak in. And if it's true and you don't like that, go fix it. And right. I mean, that's with art or your personality or anything in life. And,
Absolutely.
If it's true, be honest with yourself and then make the steps that if you do not like that, to change it. And I remember I was at a comic convention, and it's funny. I never knew that you had this moment with Tim Vigil that he destroyed you, or I don't remember maybe. But I was at a convention with Tim Vigil and Patrick Zurcher, or Zerker, I think was pronounced. At the time, he was doing a comic called Samurai 7. Mm-hmm. And I remember Vigil talking to our buddy Robert, who mm-hmm. worships Tim Vigil in every sense. Every convention, Robert is there, Maryann, ready to buy Tim Vigil's
right
coffee. and like he's his sidekick. He's
literally sitting at the table.
Well, and they're best buddies too. I mean, like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
My version of Pete is Robert's Tim Vigil. But I remember him. He destroyed Pat Zurcher's Samurai 7 stuff, like in a private critique, not in front of Pat. And I was thinking, where does this guy get off saying all this stuff? Like this guy's doing his own comic. He's a pretty good artist. He disappeared for a while. All that stuff that Tim Vigil talked about, Patrick Zurcher changed his style, and then mm-hmm. he went off and worked for Marvel and everybody else. Yeah. So he does know what he's talking about. He's a little abrasive, but if you listen to people, it's okay. That's how we learn, right?
Absolutely. Listen, I've had professionals sugarcoat stuff for me. I learned nothing. Nothing from that. Like I said, Tim Vigil, as abrasive as he was, as harsh and as demeaning as he was, almost on the verge of insulting, I learned a thousand times more listening to what he had to say and change my approach to things. Don't get a thick skin. Don't take anything personally. Don't take anything. I don't want to say don't take anything to heart, but don't let anything fester. So somebody doesn't like how you draw feet on a character. Well, that's not stopped Rob Liefeld.
You just don't draw them, dude. They're a little cloud
his
hidden.
Feet do be looking like knives, though. I'm not gonna lie.
They're knife feet.
There's I got torn apart by what's his name? Steve Irwin, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Not the animal guy, the illustrator.
The artist for Checkmate and others.
The crocodile hunter, Shawn.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I never met him. But in any case,
The
I've
Stingray.
been cut apart, like I said, by countless professionals, and if I were to just take it on face value, I would probably be curled up in a hole, begging for the end of days. But I didn't. I took exactly what they told me, as harsh as it was, and like Scott says, I paused and I said, okay, no, I need to stop being an arrogant little punk and listen to this advice. And yeah, after that, everything changed. I'm still not there, obviously, because I'm not working for any of the big publishers, but I have my own thing going, and I'm pretty happy with where I'm at.
Dirk, I noticed a
Let me-
comment by Pete.
Yeah,
Did
let
you
me
see
let me
that?
get some. I'm going to go through all these comments if I can get you
Okay.
to shut up.
No.
You guys have been talking nonstop, which is great. Walt says that there were stories from Rough Cut we never got to start or finish, which
That's true.
hey, maybe we should take your mom's advice and talk about Rough Cut again.
I'm
Maybe
all
not a
for it.
bad idea.
I'm all
Ronnie seconds what Shawn was saying, and so does Amy. Amy seconds Ronnie. Walt said that he had a tough time with his mom, who was a high school art teacher. So that's, you can imagine what the critiques were like over there on that deal.
Oh, I can imagine.
All right. From our professional artist, Pete Nifton says, be methodical if you can. Don't overthink. Find your style. Don't doodle do.
He's right about finding your style. It's sometimes hard to accept that, well, this is my style now, and this is just how I am. But once you kind of get comfortable with it, it shows, because it seems like the more comfortable I get with my style and not try to do somebody else's style, the more people, migrate to my art. And it's just like,
Right.
okay, well, maybe
You
I
just
do
got to
have
do what you
something.
do.
And your style is your mistakes and your little, things that you just do
Idiosyncrasies.
different. Yeah, it's just that's how it is. I mean, and
It's okay.
It's art. Somebody out there doesn't like Alex Ross. It's just the fact.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then there's other
Absolutely.
people like me who love.
Sure.
I love the energy that Eric Larson brings, but a lot of people won't buy comics just because of him. And
Right.
so it's art. And
I'm sure there's people out there.
and trust me, Maryann,
her art
I
is
feel
too
like
dark.
I feel like we've all gone, crazy old dad talk on you, like be encouraging and all this stuff. But your style is really unique and it's really awesome. And for a guy who's twice your age plus a little bit, sometimes I'm kind of jealous of her art, because it's nice. And so keep it up and keep doing.
Like I
To be
said
honest
earlier.
with you- Oop.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so to be honest with you, I think I started really finding my style and improving until I joined Equinox Comics, because I got to be around artists like Johnny Johnson, who are tremendous, Michael Crutchfield, and a few others. I haven't got to meet them yet, but I will one day. But, just watching how they do it,
Mhm.
and, trying to figure out, oh, God, I got to find my style, because I noticed they all have their styles. I'm like, man, I'm looking like a complete rookie over here, and I don't want that. And so I was like, I'm going to take the time. I'm going to go see what my problems are. What should I fix better, or what should I really improve upon? A lot of people tell me I'm fantastic with faces, I guess, expressions and stuff like that. That's what I've been told before. A lot of people like how I design my characters, as creepy and weird as they may be, but that's really, I think, when I started improving was about a year or a few months ago. I was like, man, I got to get good. I got to catch up. So that's what I'm doing. Catching up.
You just go at your pace and you do what you do. Your style will develop if you go back and you look at, like, I'm gonna try to think of some names here. Joe Madureira. If you look at Frank Cho, if you look at Kelly Jones, Bernie Wrightson, all of these guys, whenever they started, their stuff was crap, utter crap. And to see how far they've gotten over the years, because they were able to focus and they were able to do what they do. None of these guys look alike. None of their styles are identical, yet all of them kind of emulate each other in certain ways. You can tell that they got a little something from here and they got a little something from there, but it's how you interpret it into your illustration that makes it unique. Don't force it. Don't try to make it happen. It will happen all on its own. The illustrations that I've seen so far, I think they look fantastic. They've got a style of their own. You've already got it. Now you just need to fine tune it. Don't worry about it. You're going to be fantastic if that's what you want to do and you keep pushing. You're going to be great. Have confidence in yourself.
I hear that a lot too.
I'm constantly yelling that at Dirk all the time.
Well, I didn't get to say my piece on this subject, so I'm going to talk for a second myself.
All right, Shawn will take a break.
Many moons ago, I went to San Diego, and I may have even told this story on the show here. I talked to a guy who was an editor for Dark Horse Comics and was pretty high up in the company. And he went through, I think I took about 16 pages of work to him, and I thought that I really had it down, and I was ready to be hired to do issues of Ghost or something for them. And he sat down and went over everything that I was doing. I mean, like really literally panel by panel. And I wouldn't say ripped me apart, but he had a lot of constructive criticism that he gave me on that, on my artwork. And at the end of it, he gave me his card and he said, look, he gave me a script. It was an 8-page script. And he said, do these 8 pages, take into account what I've said, about your artwork, and send it to me, and we'll go from there. I had just spent a lot of time doing artwork and stuff. I was in my mid-20s. I had spent a lot of time doing the artwork that I gave to him, and for whatever reason, hubris, I felt like I was kind of there, that I had arrived already. Now, looking back at my stuff, I wasn't anywhere near ready to do professional art, but I was maybe, 10, 20% away at that time from producing artwork that could get me a job and get paid. I wish that I had taken his advice, come home, spent the next month working on those 8 pages and gotten that right back to him immediately, because I might have been a professional comic book artist. He didn't say, don't ever contact me again. He was legitimately ready for me to do some more work and kind of guide me, guide my plane in for a landing. But I was still going to fly around, I guess, and do my own thing. I got frustrated shortly after that because it seemed like I wasn't getting anywhere as a professional artist. I tried doing illustration for different magazines and was interested in doing gaming illustration. Nothing really was sticking. And so I got out of it and went into doing photography and, did fine with photography. But I walked away from artwork for 15 or 20 years. People who knew me over those 15 or 20 years didn't even know that I could do artwork. About 5 years ago, I had a friend who discovered that I could do artwork. And so what I did is I drew a picture of her on a T-shirt, and she was pretty astounded that I had this skill, and started giving me all kinds of crazy stuff to draw on. And I got the bug again. This was about 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. But my situation had changed pretty radically, and I didn't have the huge art desk that I had originally. I didn't have the space that was necessary to do artwork. And so I moved to doing artwork digitally instead of doing it analog style. And so the past 5 years, basically what I've done is tried to figure out 2 things. You talk about style. I've been trying to figure out what the heck my style is. and especially after being off for 15 or 20 years. And I also tried to discover how I was going to approach artwork, in the digital arena, in a different era where suddenly you could do all kinds of amazing things, including digital coloring and doing stuff in layers and being able to adjust. If you do a pencil drawing of something and your head is too small, you can just grab it and make it a larger. You can make it a larger head. You can correct stuff in there where before, especially if you were further along in the piece, it was going to be a lot more. You would destroy the piece by trying to fix it. Anyway, what I have learned from all of this is, if you have a desire to do all of this, now is the time to do it. My advice to you is to never walk away from art, because art to me, and not only is it something that allows me to express myself in ways that no other arena allows me to do. And I'm a writer, I'm a photographer, I do video stuff. Art, for whatever reason, really feeds my soul, for lack of a better term. And it's something that I really sincerely wish that I had never walked away from. So if I had an opportunity to go back and talk to myself at 20, I would say, much like what Shawn said earlier, do not walk away from opportunities. See opportunities for what they are. And much like Scott said, I would also agree that you need to draw a little bit every day. Sit down, draw 30 minutes or an hour, and don't just and like Pete says, don't doodle do. Don't screw around with your drawing. Draw with a purpose. Draw stuff that is meant to be seen by people and put it out there. Let the world see it. And if someone praises your stuff, take that for what it is. That warms your heart. But don't take that 100 times over, like most people are apt to do. And if someone criticizes you, don't take that to heart so much. Take that as constructive criticism. If you hear it over and over again, it's okay to look at that, but also realize that you're the final arbiter of what you do in your artwork. And if it's something that you like doing, then do it. I'm sure that there are people that tell Mike Mignola that his stuff needs to be more detailed, or they tell Paul Pope that his stuff is too messy. I love both of those artists for what they do and how they do it. Be your own artist. It's okay. Find your style. And I tell you, if you're trying to create a style, that'll never happen. The only way that you find your style is by drawing constantly and evaluating where you are. And that's how I feel like I've found my style, is just by doing it and doing it and doing it and saying, I like this result, I don't like this, and continually trying to improve. So if I had that time machine, I'd go back and tell myself those things.
Now the opposite question for Maryann. What would you tell yourself when you're in your 40s?
20 years away, 20 years from now.
Quit being distracted. That's my biggest one.
Hey, that's good.
I get distracted.
As do we all.
Oh, and I have a good one. Stop being so hard on yourself. Like,
yes.
man, I can sit back here and, like, for example, this picture I kind of gave up on because, well, for one, it got ink blotched. So I was like, I gave up on this because I was so hard on myself. I was like, man, screw it. No, I don't want it anymore. And I just tossed it to the side. And I was like, and then 5 minutes, I was so mad at myself there, so hard on myself. I was like, I went back through my portfolio and I watercolor this other piece I did previously, all just in black and white. And then I came back and I was like, man, how was I so hard on myself there? I was so hard on myself and angry at myself that I was just like, I'm going to go color this. I'm so mad. But yeah, sometimes I just wish I was stop being so hard on myself, because sometimes I just look at my characters and I was like, God, why did I make his God,
that
why do they
never
use
ends,
eyes wide?
Marianne. That
No, it
never
doesn't.
ends.
It never
I can tell
seems
you,
to.
I can tell you right now that I have never been happy with anything that I've not like 100% happy with anything that I've ever
Curse.
done. Well, it's a blessing in some ways. If you're not happy with what you're doing, you can constantly improve. You can use it as a positive thing. Just don't take it to heart. Just realize that
Oh,
most people don't see the flaws that you see. Most people don't, and that if you take it as a constructive thing, like I really wish that I'd done this a little bit better. I wish I'd done this. I wish that the background was better. I wish that the colors were better. Then the next time that you do it better.
Yeah, it'll happen.
And
Besides that,
I'll
I think.
also say,
Go ahead.
I also want to say that I've seen your work. You're way ahead of the game. You
Yeah.
also have you have so much time. You're 20 years old. You have so much time to do this stuff. And you're so far ahead of most people, I would say, at your age. You already have a cool style. You already have cool subjects. You've got a project that sounds cool. Just keep doing what you're doing. I think that's the bottom line. Don't lose faith and keep trying to improve, and wonderful things will happen.
oh yeah.
Let me put some stuff out that people are saying here. Ronnie says, "It's awesome a style, Dirk." It is to me. It is to me. He also says, "That's why I do props, my self-expression. I get to do it the way I want." Again, our professional artist, Pete Nifton, who we are going to have on the show if he will be on here, if he gets his whatever. Scott says he has computer issues. He says 10,000 hours. Do it again and again and again. Samurai stuff. Yeah.
I've heard Pete say that before.
Yeah. A million tiny cuts.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's Shawn's mommy.
Shawn's mom says Shawn drew every day. That's the only way it happens.
Oh.
Sean Sexton says that he's not an artist, but he found drumming as a passion while he was in his 20s. And the only way that you get better is practice, practice, practice. It's the same with any creative endeavor. Singing, doing music, writing, whatever. The only way that you get better is by doing it and critically evaluating yourself and giving yourself a break. Give yourself a break. It's okay.
For sure.
And Pete says spot on, Shawn. So there it is. Let's get one last time. Let's get all of Maryann Childress's links out there. It is on Instagram, chill_artist. For Equinox Comics, you can see the Facebook link there, and they have a Patreon page. It's very nice of you to mention them.
Cool.
I'm sure they appreciate that. That's very cool. All
Bunch of
right.
great guys. I appreciate them a lot because I just kind of just stumbled up on them in a crazy outfit. I was like, "Here's my artwork," and they're like, "Oh, you mind let's bring you on." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So that kind of just happened. Yeah.
I got a couple of extra things. Let's see. Do you know what
I tried doing?
Mr.
I
Zach is
do.
talking about
Okay.
there?
I tried doing that a long time ago, Zach, and the software they require you to do it is almost $900 for a single user agreement.
Ouch.
No thanks.
What
I
what
couldn't do it.
program?
So it's ZBrush.
Oh.
Tenogen.
Oh.
It's three.
ZBrush?
Yeah, it's a 3D. Yeah, it's a
I know.
3D. It's a
I know
3D
ZBrush.
modeling program.
Mm-hmm.
So with Tenogen, a game company allows you to make skins for characters and
That's cool.
helmets, and so they give you all the files for the characters and like, here, do what you want to do. And I'm like, oh, okay. I tried it and I couldn't do it all the way, unfortunately, and I just don't have $900 out of my pocket to
Who does?
give me everything you have. No one does. Like, I don't. So yeah, I tried, but it was fun while I did it. 3D modeling is certainly a different ballgame, that's for sure.
All right. Our next subject is, what are you watching, reading, or playing right now? And we're going to go to our guest first.
Oh, watching or reading?
Just anything that
Honestly,
you're enjoying right now.
I was playing Shadow of the Colossus in the other room, if that means anything. I was playing a video
Nice.
game, ironically enough.
What's the game?
Shadow of the Colossus.
Shadow of the Colossus. What is that platform on?
It's on PS4. The remake, it's always been on PlayStation. It originally came out in 2005, but I'm playing the 2018 remake. So, pretty good. I like it.
Cool.
Dirk, our buddy Dave Myers frothed at the mouth when this game came out.
It's a really good game.
The game that she's talking about?
Yeah. I think you were probably living with him at the time.
Okay.
You know how he was a PS.
Oh, he was huge on Final Fantasy. I remember that well.
But no, this was one of those games that he wanted to make love to back then. So that's cool. So they remade it. Let's go back and talk.
Yeah.
I want to hear what she has to say.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So a game company known as Blue Point Games, they tend to remake games. So they went back and they were like, hey, what if we remade Shadow of the Colossus? And if you go to their gallery, they show the original pictures of the PS2 version from 2005 and the current version, and it is phenomenal. They took everything about it. They redesigned the Colossi, retest. It's just a beautiful game. The only thing they didn't touch was the original soundtrack, because the soundtrack enough is already really good. So they were like, no, we're not going to touch that. So it's a great game. The remake's fantastic. I was only 5 when that game came out, so I never knew it existed until fairly recently.
That's funny.
So yes.
Very cool. Okay, Shawn, I'm going to you next, man.
Actually, I haven't been reading or watching anything necessarily, although I did. I'm going to pull Scott. I just recently picked up a couple of books I had on order.
That's cool.
One was a pre-order from Flesk Publishing called The Big Tease by Bruce Timm.
Look how shiny that is.
It's a thick old book,
full
of pinup art, none of which I can show you.
They're all done by Bruce Timm.
I mean, Bruce Timm is an awesome artist,
and
awesome.
It was amazing. And then also from Flesk Publishing, I had done a Kickstarter for the Art of Frank Cho.
I want to thumb that up.
I don't think I want you to thumb that.
Oh no.
Anyway, it's he explores the last 20 years of his art in that. That looks like the Necronomicon too. This is look at the size of that book.
I know, it's huge,
massive. Anyway, I haven't had a chance to really go.
350 pages.
Let's see if they're numbered.
And you say that's Flesk?
Flesk Publishing, Flesk.
And can you order it from them, or was that a Kickstarter?
Yes, you can. Okay. This was a Kickstarter, but it is now available.
Yeah, he has some copies left.
Let's see. This says 336 pages.
Oh, I got very close.
For the Frank Cho.
Ding, ding, ding.
And let's see. What does Bruce Timm got for me? 208.
All right.
Still
substantial.
Both of those massive books. I can't wait to actually go through and check out.
Walt says that Bruce Timm did work on the original G.I. Joe.
Yes.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Also intimately involved in the Batman series, right?
I was going to say, let's not forget his Batman the Animated Series.
Did he not create Harley Quinn? The look of Harley Quinn?
I believe that is true.
I'm pretty confident that he's the guy who gets the credit for that.
I believe it was Mad Love or something like that.
Yes. Well, the cartoon first, and then he did it. He did an illustrated graphic novel. You're correct. You're correct, sir.
You are correct, sir.
Shawn, is that it, buddy?
That's all I got.
All right, Scott, you're up.
All right, I'm going to plug Adventure Man #1.
Oh, cool!
It is like a pulp era comic. It's done by Matt Fraction. Remember those, after you work for Marvel and rake in on your cash, you go to Image and you do a project you've always wanted to do. Here you go. Matt Fraction, Terry Dodson, Rachel Dodson.
Oh, man.
Beautiful artwork by the Dodsons.
All those people.
Can you imagine, like, your wife?
God, I want that.
inking all your stuff, and it's fabulous.
It's
really good.
Ever.
It's really good stuff. That came out. I just read that last week. Issue number 2 drops tomorrow. So if you're interested in that. And
Nice.
then I've told y'all I picked it up. This was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
yeah.
IDW stuff that Joe Roberts recommended highly of.
Yeah. Good callback.
I started with volume 1 of this big old collection. So there's 12 issues here. It is a retelling, its own version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their whole origin and everything. And it's done exceptionally well. I mean, as the owner of Wizards Asylum said, it has indie art is how he described the art, but it's good art. It has a really good story, and it was good enough that I'm going to pick up volume 2 to read up on it. So far what Joe Roberts said about the new Turtle stuff being, very good and well done is spot on. And so I'm buying volume 2, and we'll see if I keep supporting these things. Well,
cool.
anyways,
I think Mr. Zach missed the first one. Would you say who that is? What that is again? If he missed it, other people probably did too.
It's called Adventure Man. It's done by Matt Fraction, Terry Dodson, and his wife Rachel Dodson. It's by Image Comics, and like I said, issue 2 drops tomorrow.
Very cool.
A really cool concept. As for playing, this last weekend I played 12 hours plus a day on board games, but one game that does stand out and nobody in the world will find it, but I want to talk about it, is Camp Grizzly. It's a board game that I guess was a Kickstarter. It has that Friday the 13th type feel to it. It was such an amazing, fun game. And I guess they're impossible to find because I've already looked, and I'm not paying $600 for a board game. So on eBay, but played a ton of board games and good times there. So other than that,
cool.
That's all I got for you.
Cool. All right. Well, mine is on the theme of learning and drawing and stuff. Lately, I have been watching the live feed plus the extra stuff from David Finch. And I've got his deal right here. If it will come up, there it is right there. David Finch is a Marvel and DC artist. He is awesome. On the latest, we earlier mentioned that Predator and Alien is going to become part of the Marvel Universe. To make that announcement, they had David Finch do an Alien and a Predator in the Marvel Universe. And so he is not a slouch. He is at the top of his game right now. He is amazing, and he is giving away hundreds of dollars worth of advice every Sunday night by doing a live feed, showing you from the first sketch of his pencil all the way through to the inks on how he does a full page piece of artwork. And while he's doing that, his wife feeds him questions from the audience, and he will answer anything, including stuff about the industry or about the materials he uses or the approach that he has or stories about his life and his advice. It is scintillating entertainment if you're into doing art in general, or specifically if you want to do comics. His feed is really spectacular. I cannot recommend it highly enough. And he's a really cool guy too. If you're interested in David Finch, there is also his website, and he is doing, stuff for the main companies right now. By the way, if you get into his work, he's definitely out there. So let me back out here just a second and see what some of the comments are. Ronnie says, just check Shadow of Colossus. It's beautifully done. So there you go. And Mr. Zach knows, can I get it online? I have no idea what it is that you're asking about.
He's asking about that adventure.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you want a digital copy of Adventure Man. I'm assuming somebody out there has it.
It's on Comixology.
Okay.
There you go.
It's in my
Yeah,
queue
I think it
as
would
we
be
speak.
there.
Oh, you young people in your digital comics.
Digital comics may be the thing that keeps the industry going.
Oh, most
Yeah.
likely.
Probably right now, yeah.
Certainly with all the craziness going on.
Oh,
So, all right, it's promo time, folks. And so, first up to that is again our guest, Maryann. Tell us where to go to find your stuff.
Okay, you can find majority of my artwork on Instagram under chill_artist. You'll find most of my stuff there. Do support the guys that have helped me so much throughout this start of my journey. Follow us on the Equinox Comics page on Facebook or even Instagram. I forgot we had an Instagram until just maybe a little while ago. So follow them there too, and support our Patreon. We definitely need the help, and if you guys like our stuff, definitely go for it. Don't be afraid.
Very, very cool. Scott, you're up next, buddy.
You can find me over at bothdown.com where I do a Blood Bowl podcast regularly, at least once a month, if not more often. Now that I've returned going back to my real job, looks like we're not doing this weekly or bi-weekly thing and going back to monthly. But you can find me there if you're interested in commissioning some of my art. I've been taking commissions over. You can find me at Facebook over at Scott Prime. I've been keeping very busy doing commissions as of late, so that's a nice thing to happen, and it really keeps me practicing and doing something and puts a little change in my pocket. So that's all I got.
There's the Facebook page for both.
There it is, right there.
All right, you're up, Shawn.
Nothing really new. I'm working on a commission piece right now. Hopefully, just in the sketch phase of it. But once that's done, I hope to have it up on our Facebook page, Ranking Studios, and also hopefully start getting some artwork posted up on the website, rankingstudios.com. And feel free to drop by, take a look at what we've got, and drop us a line. We have the email up and running on that thing. So if you find it and you wanna talk with the boys, feel free to give us a holler.
Yeah, good stuff. I'm taking commissions too, as a matter of fact, and I am offering $20 off on my commissions for the next 4 hours.
Ooh,
I've been running it for about 7 days now, and I'm down to the last 4 hours. $20 off. I have 3 different styles that I'm doing, and I've got a few in my queue now because
I'll take a $10 sketch, and you can pay me $10.
Yeah, right. Great. That's great. Let's see. I want to Ranking Studios is good place as any. Also, my Facebook deal. If you're watching me on Facebook, you can get in touch with me there. And let's see. Also, I really want to get you guys over to the Taskforce Geek Facebook group. Whether you're interested in this show or you're interested in independent comics, artists, creators, whatever, I want to encourage everyone to get over there and share your stuff. We really want to see your stuff on there. I hope that people use that as a resource to share stuff to the community and to communicate with us, because if you share it on there, we'll try to get you on the show too. I mean, why not? Let's do the whole thing there. I'm going to back out here and I'm going to see what kind of comments that we have. Damon says David sounds passionate about his stuff, and he should produce some great results. He's awesome. I promise you.
Yeah, he's done some great stuff already.
Yeah, he's already there. I promise you. Yeah. We would all like to be halfway to where David Finch is. Mr. Zach was saying, "Cool, nice to know. There are no comic shops near me, so that's maybe why the comics. Yeah, it is terrible. Maybe that's why the Comixology. It gives us the sad face.
Oh,
so that's why Comixology there says that. And Vocalic says you got this. There you Does anyone else have anything that you want to add before I wrap this show up?
Oh, I'm sure I could think of something, but I probably shouldn't, right?
Go ahead, man. We're actually ahead on time, so
no, I was just making a comment. I was just teasing you.
All right. Walt says he's got a video game idea. Put it on the new Facebook group. Absolutely. Let's all communicate in there. If we can build that thing up, then hopefully be a resource for people to get some stuff out. Just as a side deal. Oh my gosh, can I find this? Here it is. We'll give you time. How about this? In about 30 minutes, Russ is going to debut his Age of Remnants Kickstarter. Let's get over there, please. I'm asking the people who are watching this or who watch it over the next 30 days, get over there and support a unique voice, someone who we know, we've seen his work. It's good stuff. It's finished, so you don't have to worry about whether it's going to get done or not. Mm-hmm. Help support one of the people who has been on the show and is a great guy and has poured his heart into this project. That's the Kickstarter. If you can't find it through that because it's too much, you can also go here to Black Wolf Artworks, or you can also go to his Facebook page, which is Age of the Remnants Comic. This is the thing that we really want to do on this show, is get these independent comic creators' voices out there. And we also want to encourage people to get on that Facebook group and do the same thing. Let's use this for what it was intended, which is to talk about art and about geeky stuff and help do some promotion. That's very, very important to all of us. So does anyone else have something to add?
Yeah, I noticed there was a lot of new faces making comments and stuff tonight. If you guys I'm heavily encouraging you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can have our own unique little name there and spread the word and tell other people about us. And if you know somebody that maybe want to promote something, come on the show, talk some nerdy stuff with some old dudes or whatever. The invitation's there, and I'd like to thank Maryann for coming on and even explaining what this thing called Discord was, because I know she only said that because she thought we were a bunch of old guys who don't know that. I didn't forget. That's what this app called Discord, old white guys.
I don't know if they know it or not, I guess.
That's a good point.
That's all right.
Let's and Maryann, you're welcome back at any time too, especially if you have something to push or you just want to come back. And please get in our new Facebook group and share your stuff there. Let's use that as the resource that it can be. I would like to get us up to 500,000 people, where when someone does a Kickstarter campaign or something, we can seriously move the needle on this stuff. And it starts right here and right now. Let's make that happen. We've got a couple of comments here. I don't want to miss anything. Okay. Let's see. The one I had closed down, I guess his comic shop closed down. I say his. Make sure you list the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, and so there you go. That's a good idea. Always a good idea. We'll put that on our Facebook group as well. Anything else, guys and gals?
You got it.
All right. Before we go, I want to mention that we're looking for guests for Taskforce Geek. If you're interested, please contact me at taskforcegeek@gmail.com. If you have something to promote, even better, we just talked about that. Visit us on the Quora, Taskforce Geek space on rankingstudios.com. That's our homepage, and that's what we're using as a home base. Thanks, everyone, for watching this. Please leave a like and share wherever you see this. Please, it makes a huge difference. For Shawn, Scott, and Maryann, this is Dirk Hooper saying dream hard.